This is Meltdown Live, presented by MyBookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag for double your initial deposit. You sign on to make a deposit, they double it with code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag.
Welcome in. This is Meltdown Live. It is a Thursday. To be more specific, it's the 12th day of June of 2025, and we are honored to have you here joining us in the Culver studio, whether you're watching live or on demand. Thank you for being a proud Meltdonian and making us a part of your daily routine. You can do so in the car as well. We're available on all the podcast platforms, so make sure you're downloading, listening when you're spending some time. You'll never be alone in the car because you'll have us right there with you. I am Tim Melton. Across the studio for me, the one, the only, lovable Tyler Lionel Johns. Tyler, how are you, man?
I'm good. I hit the wrong button there. So there was fire when you said my name, but now it's me.
It's like the scene from Austin Powers where I have a button here, and when I press it, it just, sends your chair back flying into a vat of flame. So there you go. I wish there was another Austin Powers movie.
Me too.
I mean, like,
Mike Myers has talked about it a few times.
Let's make it happen.
I want it to happen so badly.
If I was doing a Meltdown countdown of, like, sequels I desperately need, another Austin Powers would be maybe number one.
Absolutely.
Like, plus he plays, like, 4 of the roles, so he can just hire himself and then a couple more people, and it would be good. You still have all the principal actors, for the most part, ready to go. So, I don't know. Let's bring Seth Green back and pay off his arc from Goldmember and everything. Anyway, I won't go down this whole
At the end of Goldmember, he's, like, positioned to be the next Dr. Evil.
Yeah. I've got to revisit those movies again. We got all 3 of them out of the mystery boxes that we've done, which are kind of in hiatus because I'm tired of being ripped off.
Yeah.
And I got to find a new supplier. I feel like I'm running some sort of like underground operation when I say something like that, but I got to find a new supplier because I can't keep going to Second and Charles and getting like busted, broken, handwritten, burnt DVDs of low quality.
Here's a burnt copy of Big Mama's House 2.
Exactly. It may not even play, but here you go. And oh, by the way, it's got hair all over it. Yeah, I've got to find a new supplier. So I'm going to work on that, but I want to bring mystery boxes back in a big way. I've just got to find that right person that's going to maybe work with me and get me some deals of some quality titles that we can pull, because with these Second and Charles boxes as well, we do pull a lot of the same titles over and over and over again.
Oh,
so
gosh, it's getting stale.
I can walk into Second and Charles and go to their DVD section and figure out, like, okay, I'm probably going to get a copy of that because there's 500 copies of it on the shelf, and I'm probably going to get a copy of that, and I've already gotten many copies of this. So anyway, we'll keep you up to date on that. You are someone who traversed yesterday. You crossed state lines. Yeah.
Went on a quest. EG's home city of Atlanta.
Well, my first question, we're going to get into all of it here. But my first question is, when you made it over into the Atlanta area, did you immediately notice traffic flow changing? Like,
absolutely.
No denial.
Man, when I got on the interstate yesterday, I just had the cruise on from Birmingham to Six Flags, basically. And then maybe a mile after that, traffic jam. And it took that was probably a good chunk of the journey.
Right.
Was just that last half hour, which was probably maybe 10, 15 miles.
Because you were hitting Atlanta pretty much right before rush hour officially hit, I guess. I mean, you were right there in that cusp of sort of it had started, I guess. You were part of that rat race.
Definitely.
So you make it to Atlanta. Let's talk real quick about what you were attempting to do, and then let's talk about the logistics of how you pulled it off. Because for those that don't know, you are someone who dabbles occasionally in going to a concert when one really stands out to you. Like, it's a perfect situation, and it seems like yesterday all the stars aligned. So what was the plan, and then how perfectly was it executed?
So my plan was, right after Meltdown wrapped yesterday, to boogie down to hot Atlanta, which I'm only saying because EG isn't here, and I can avoid the death glare from her today. Yeah. Ha! Empty chair.
That is correct. You got her. You showed her. Next week we'll be too scared to say anything, but
that's
yeah,
true.
Right now.
But anyway, my plan was to just get there real quick. And originally my plan was I've got parking reserved by State Farm Arena, maybe 4 blocks away. And also conveniently about 100 yards away from a German restaurant. And I don't know why, but yesterday I really had a hankering for some bratwurst and sauerkraut and some bread. I'm just like, I really want this today. I don't know why, but I do.
Okay.
And the place looked amazing. It's called Der Biergarten. I don't know if any Atlanteans in the chat are familiar with that place, but didn't end up making it to that restaurant because had to stop and get gas, then lost an hour because of the time change, and then the traffic jam right past Six Flags. So that just ended up not happening, but that's cool. Got a mediocre burger inside the arena.
That sounds awful.
So I walk up to State Farm Arena, maybe 6:40, 6:30. Doors open, well, it was probably closer to 6:40. But either way, doors open at 7. I still don't have a ticket yet.
Smart.
I'm waiting on the prices to drop. I was listening to EG. And as I get to the arena, I look at the ticket that I had been eyeing all day. It said it was a mobile transfer ticket and not an instant download ticket.
Oh.
And so I got a little scared because, for anyone who doesn't know, that means that the person who currently has the ticket and is selling it has to transfer it out of their Ticketmaster account into yours before you can have the ticket on your phone. And so I got real anxious and ended up not waiting until door opening to buy the ticket. I just bought it right then, like 15 minutes before.
How long did the transfer take?
Gosh, maybe 5-10 minutes.
Still, that's terrifying.
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. It was nerve-wracking because at that point, I've spent the money on the ticket, and now I'm just kind of waiting. I have no way to sell the ticket now because it's way too close. Like, if I were to get it and then, like, couldn't use it for whatever reason or ended up getting another ticket that I could secure immediately. Excuse me.
So do they charge you immediately when you make the purchase? Like, are they just holding it so that way if it falls through, they give it back to you? Or
it says...
Gotta be.
It says that it's like, we insure... StubHub said that, like, we insure all our purchases.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, well, if they don't transfer it in time, that's like the seller not shipping. I'll get a refund.
Right, and then you can get another ticket.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully I'd be able to snag one at that point. But it all worked out, and I just moseyed right into State Farm Arena and picked up some merch and a bacon smash burger, which cost as much as an authentic bratwurst platter from the German restaurant.
Yeah, let me time out here real quick because everybody's talking about like, well, Atlanta has fan-friendly pricing. Atlanta has fan-friendly pricing.
Not at the arena. At Mercedes-Benz they do.
Correct. But I feel like Atlanta gets the credit for it. Like if you go to a sporting event in Atlanta, you're paying $5 and you're good. And that's just one segment.
That would be like us claiming that Birmingham has fan-friendly concessions because the Barons have fan nights where beers are a nickel or something.
Well, they're definitely not a nickel. But
they're not, but they do try and just give away as much as they can.
Thirsty Thursdays, yes, that's what we affectionately refer to them as here in this part of town. But yeah, no, State Farm Arena, much different experience there. So did you like your seat?
Oh, loved my seat. I was able to get it for let's see, I guess a third of the original price.
That's what you want.
And it was side stage, like one section over, so I could see the corner of the stage, all the screens, everything perfectly. And I was about 5 or 6 rows up, so perfect.
An aisle seat too, right?
Well, okay.
Oh.
So they said it was an aisle seat, but I was not sent an aisle seat, so I assume that person had multiple tickets, and because I only bought one, I just didn't get the aisle seat. But like, in that package, it's like, you could get an aisle seat.
That's
it's like,
shady.
well, I wanted to be able to
Look,
I thought I was getting the aisle. But
Tyler,
it is what it is. I'm happy.
ticket buying and ticket selling is a mess in our country.
Yeah.
Like, going to one of these events has never been more expensive, and it's never been a less sure thing when you actually go through and you buy a ticket of what experience you're going to be having. And if you are a diehard fan that knows you're going to something and you want to be there first minute, you still are in this virtual queue. And then once you get in, it's a mad dash to try to secure something.
Right.
And then you do have, and I understand, that it's a livelihood for a lot of people.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm not trying to trigger you or offend you, but there's a lot of people who they just want to buy up as many of them as they can and flip them, and they're welcome to do that. But I mean, I've looked into this a lot, and those professional scalpers say there is a 0% chance you can compete with them to get premium seats.
Oh, no, they've got bots to fill out as many order attempts as they possibly can. Like,
now,
some of these bots go up to 10,000 order slots or something running at a time or something crazy like that.
This also affects the artists because the artists want to give their fans a premium experience. And so they feel like, while the tickets are being bought up at market value, they are also frustrating the fan base that's trying to come out and support them because they can't get their hands on the tickets that are bought up in a consistent way. So there's a lot of artists that try to outthink the scalpers and go directly to their fan bases by having pre-sales or having, exclusive through their website.
Always leak.
They always leak. It's a mess. There's so many fees. There's so many different little hidden valleys for ways they nickel and dime you to go, and service charges and things that don't even make sense that they're just adding on. And, it is kind of a monopoly as well. I mean, it's been well documented that the ticket buying experience is a nightmare. So you have to really, really do a lot of research homework on what it is you want to see, where it is you want to go, unless you take an opportunity where you notice that this is a concert that's happening. It's a hop, skip, and a jump away. You can head over there and make this a last-minute thing. Do you plan to employ that strategy more often now?
Absolutely. EG's the GOAT. And I'm saying that because she's not here. So, chat, you cannot tell her that I have been giving her such high praise for this strategy. I've already thanked her for the advice. Yeah, I'll definitely be employing this strategy more often because I typically go concerts alone anyway. So.
Oh, yeah, the lone wolf, man.
It's so easy.
Dude.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Because all you have to do is secure just one ticket that makes sense, and you're good. And, there's a lot of people that are reselling that can't find the person looking for just one ticket. They're looking for multiple tickets. Like EG brought her whole platoon of people there to the Post Malone concert last minute, but it's because they were all available that she was able to go. But, yeah, anyway, a lot of people shocked that you are giving so much praise to EG here, but we'll see what happens next week when you guys are in the same studio.
Jeff in the chat says he's been to the Der Biergarten in Atlanta many times. Says they have a great pretzel. I saw a picture of that pretzel with all the different mustards you get. It looks delicious. I want to take a trip to Atlanta just for the sake of wolfing down some bratwurst, some kraut, and some pretzels.
I see Jason in the chat. My summer mystery box will be ready by the end of next week, which will be awesome because my birthday is next week, and that'll be a fun little treasure trove there to open up. Hopefully we can have that late next week, and we can do that on the air because I trust Jason, who probably has delivered the GOAT of mystery boxes. I mean,
absolutely. I mean, we got it on display right next to the Warhammer.
So much spectacle there with his mystery box. Always some fun and some
inside our sarcophagus.
Yeah. So how was the concert itself?
Oh, it was great. So, I actually don't think I've said the full concert.
You haven't. I've set it up.
It was a Wu-Tang Clan. It was their final tour, and they had Run the Jewels opening. I've listened to both Wu-Tang Clan and Run the Jewels since probably 8th, 9th grade. So, found out they're touring. It's my last time I'll ever get to see Wu-Tang Clan. You had everybody there from the Wu-Tang Clan, with the exception of ODB, of course, because he's passed away. But in substitute, you got Young Dirty, his son. So that was fantastic. Redman came out and performed some songs with Method Man. It was just a great show. They really put in a lot of effort to just making a great performance and great spectacle and theatrics. A lot of costume changes, and then in between sets, they would play trailers for the upcoming documentary that Raekwon's putting out. I believe it premiered at Sundance, or was supposed to be at Sundance, but this is like a highly anticipated documentary. It's called the Purple Tape documentary, and it looks fantastic. We got a trailer for RZA's new movie. I believe it's called something about chocolate. I forget the name of it, but it looks great. And then we also got a trailer for the new Wu-Tang Clan video game, Rise of the Deceiver.
So, like,
I was sitting in the stands, like, in between sets, like, man, I wish Tim was here and we just go ahead and film the reaction.
Yeah. Is it Def Jam Vendetta? I don't know if you know that game.
That's a great game.
But, like, that's immediately what's coming to mind when you're talking about all this.
Fight for New York.
That was a fun game.
One. Yeah.
Fun game.
Yeah.
So, but, yeah, I'm glad you were able to go, and, you know, EG's enjoying some R&R this week. And I feel like even though it was very much a rush and, you know, get over there and all that, I hope it was just at least a little bit of spiritual R&R for you to get over there and really dive into something that is so personal to you.
It was a total just sort of cleanse from thinking about all of my daily tasks and what I got to do tomorrow.
Good.
And it's like, let me put all that to the side for a minute and just do something I've really wanted to do and have this experience that I'm going to remember for a very long time.
See, for us, I mean, poker is one of those things, right? Where when we sit down, we can turn our brain off for a second, and sometimes we need to turn it back on because we're making bad mistakes at the poker table, but it is an escape for us too. And, you know, you got to have those little things, it's my biggest piece of advice for everybody, that if you feel like you're swamped, you're struggling, you know, it doesn't matter if you have $10 in your account or you have $10,000 in your account. You got to do something for yourself at some point. And, you know, go do that. Make that time, because you can't be what you need to be for everybody else if you're not taking care of yourself first and foremost. So go find that thing that spiritually makes you connect. You know, for a long, long time, for me, it was going to the movies. Now the movie experience is not nearly as consistent. And so that's affected my full enjoyment of going to the theater. But I have dived deeper into music collecting. I have dived deeper into poker. I've dived deeper into, I want to get back into chess. I love playing chess, and I want to get back into that here soon. There's a lot of things that I'm super passionate about that I've got to spend more time doing. And, you know, I'm hoping that we actually have some really quality movies this summer to talk about. I feel like this past week was a big hit, and it's based on 2 recommendations that you made. And I've given you a little bit of a hard time. It's not completely fair, but I've given you a little bit of a hard time of not, like, being more forceful in your recommendation, because your recommendation's right. But I don't think you realized, like, how good those films are for my taste palette. But, like, Dangerous Animals and Friendship, I haven't stopped thinking about. It was a double feature, set in the same seat in the same theater. Even had a little Tyler Lionel Johns visit there for a second. And both those movies are fantastic at what they aim to be. Now, they're both not for everybody.
No, not at all. I was surprised that you liked both of them as much as you did.
Yeah. Loved both of them, have not stopped thinking about both of them. And I had not seen even a trailer for Dangerous Animals, and it helped so much. I didn't know anything other than Jai Courtney, sharks, horror elements.
See, and I think, honestly, the trailer ruined it for me, and even reading a little blurb, because the blurb has to do with, like, a girl surviving this killer on a boat. And the opening scene made me think that after the opening scene was a flashback and it was going to lead back up until I realized it was a separate character after, like, you know, a couple minutes. But, not a big knock on the movie. I was just like sort of misdirected.
Yeah. It's an effective little horror movie that has the Family Guy bit in it, where you're sitting through the first 2 minutes and it's just logos for production companies. Where it's like, oh, okay, this is really cool. Oh, I can't believe they're doing that. Oh, it's just another production company. Oh, this is really cool. It's another production company. Like, you can tell there were like 20 production companies that decided to all funnel their funds into this.
Coming to town.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's a really fun little horror movie. And then Friendship is, and this is the weird thing to say, Friendship may be more disturbing than Dangerous Animals. I mean, it may be.
Friendship was very disturbing, and honestly, it's real.
Yeah. Like, very, very much more could happen in reality for certain. But anyway, both movies really fantastic. I actually passed along Friendship to a friend of mine to go see, and they went and saw it today, and they liked it, so that was good. It was Saber, actually. I always try to act like I'm not going to say his name.
Friendship does seem like it would be up Saber's alley.
See, that's what I thought, too. I don't recommend it to everybody, but I mean, Saber, I'm like, I think you'll enjoy this, and he did, so that made me happy. All right, let's get into it, but first, I got some people that want to get into your mouth. And that is the team at Alabama Dental Associates. They're dentists, so it makes sense of why they would be trying to get into your bicuspids there. Dr. Jeff, Dr. Brian, Dr. Nolan over at Alabama Dental Associates. They are located on Grants Mill Road, and they are the best. I love going in there. The chairs are comfortable for me, so I know that they're comfortable for everybody else. The staff is so friendly and warm, and like, they always are busy, but they always make time to make sure that you're taken care of. They're at Alabama Dental Associates for sure, conveniently located there, and they have become friends, and I appreciate them very much. They give you the honest truth of what's going on with your mouth, and they make sure that all of your problems and potential problems are taken care of. That's why it's so important to keep those regular cleanings as a part of your yearly schedule there. Every 6 months, you should be in a dentist chair getting looked at, and they will take care of that for you. If you're new in town, need to have a dentist on standby, make sure you try Alabama Dental Associates. You can call them 205-956-8977 or visit alabamadental.com, where they look forward to seeing you. Before we get into some big headlines here today, we've got a check-in with Tyler. What you got for us?
Alrighty, we got Nick saying, should have had Brown call the AAA ticks folks. I don't know too much about those folks, but
I actually think it's just A-ticks, right? I think that's what they say. That's what they call them.
Oh yeah, just it's A-ticks, but it is 3 A's. That is correct. Yeah, I'm not. I don't think I've met the guys from A-ticks actually. I'm sure they'd help out though. Also says only fan friendly pricing at the bins. Everything else is priced too high. I completely agree. The food wasn't even good.
When I heard you say OnlyFans, I was like, we're on that platform too? What's going on here? I don't know what's happening.
Well, not yet. But,
soon.
Maybe soon.
Yeah.
Lance has been wanting to see those size 18 feet of yours.
That is correct.
So
I don't know how much of a market there is for that, but I'm sure there's some people out there that are like,
I mean, that's some premium content right there.
I guess so. If you're into, what are we doing here? My mother watches this show. Let's continue on.
And Smuff says, farewell tour? False. Wu-Tang is forever. That is correct. I've got it on the hoodie. Wu-Tang is forever. That's the whole point of the tour.
Hey,
there's a whole speech at the end. It was great.
You've been very transparent. And so I'm going to ask you a question that you may or may not want to answer.
What's that?
How much was that hoodie?
This hoodie, $80.
$80?
Yeah. I mean,
you only live once, my friend.
It's
I actually didn't think it would be that high. I thought it was going to be like 50.
No.
80?
Concert merch is expensive now.
Ooh, it does look good.
I love this hoodie. It's very cozy. And then they also had some posters for sale that looked real cool. So I grabbed one of them. And then I saw that the Run the Jewels poster was signed. So I grabbed that one too.
Okay, well, I mean, if we're sticking with transparency here, I'm going to guess that the unsigned poster was 50. And I'm going to guess that the signed poster was 100.
They were both 50.
Oh, okay. I should have just stuck with my first one there.
Yeah, that was a good guess.
That's great. Okay, cool.
And they look really nice. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
No,
you know me. I'm wheeling and dealing. I'm a businessman. I made some flips recently, so that I was able to justify it. And then also, when you have that much merch that you buy at the concert, you got to get a little tote bag. And I'm not going to use a tote bag, but there are plenty of people who would pay for a Wu-Tang Clan Final Tour tote bag.
Used once, lightly, and then
lightly used.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you. No, you are always forward thinking in that department.
And Hunter says Tyler praising EG. What?
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I'm shocked too. Yeah, I'll drop another shocker on there. And chat, you guys better not tell her that I said this.
Yes, please don't.
I'm walking to my car. I'm walking out of the arena, heading to my car through downtown Atlanta, and there were street vendors and people selling T-shirts, and the city was just alive. And I thought, man, this is a pretty nice city. I actually wouldn't mind, like, I could make a run living down here. I wouldn't mind being a part of this. Chat, you better not tell her. You better not tell her I said that.
I can be all upset and everything, but I got a little Atlanta trip coming up here soon. All right, let's do this. Real quick, Russell in the chat, is the Spaceball sequel coming in 27? We're going to talk about it here in mere moments, but not yet. So you're going to have to stay tuned, Russell, because we've got a lot of headlines to get to. So let's run through these for sure. All right, we got to start with this one. As we have Thunderbolts officially going to take a loss monetarily.
No way.
Yeah, it's officially going to happen here.
But it's the most A24 movie that Marvel ever made.
Thunderbolts has grossed $371 million globally, which is one of the MCU's lowest grossing movies of all time. It needed to make $425 million worldwide to break even in theaters. You have Jeff Bach, who's with Exhibitor Relations. He's an analyst, saying these lower tier comic book movies aren't cinematic slam dunks anymore. Thunderbolts wrapping up after just a month in theaters is also a concern. These films aren't legging out like previous iterations. Now, with all this being said, Superman just broke the record of most tickets sold in a single day that had been set by, for 2025, which is like, not that big of a deal, I don't think, which has replaced Fantastic Four, which set the record a few days earlier. So the whole thing of like people wanting to use Thunderbolts as a complete analysis of superhero cinema, it's not really that fair, because we've been talking about on this show before Thunderbolts came out, like no one general public wise knows a member of the Thunderbolts. Like they can't tell you who's on that team.
Correct. And if they say Black Widow, they're thinking Scarlett Johansson Black Widow and not Florence Pugh.
100%. And they will have had to have seen Black Widow to really understand Florence Pugh is even in the MCU.
And nobody watched Black Widow because it released in COVID and had that
correct
simultaneous release.
Correct.
It was streaming in theaters.
I watched it on Disney Plus, and I liked the movie, but a lot of people missed it. A lot of people skipped it. So, I'm not completely shocked by this. Now, what felt the weirdest, and we panned it at the time, was 3 days after it opened, they started changing the marketing for it and started making it New Avengers, and they thought that would be like this really clever, smart A24. The whole angle that they were gonna take of this is gonna be the A24 Marvel movie felt smug.
Oh my God.
It felt smug. It felt like, and I don't know if it's just because our opinion of A24 people have kind of changed over the year or whatever, but like they just felt too cute with it all, and it didn't ring as being something genuine that you could back. It felt like just pretentious.
Yeah, and then on top of that, they doubled down with leaning into the Martin Scorsese absolute cinema meme, which I like that meme a lot. Yeah. But
you got to be smart and classy to really understand Thunderbolt. Really, it's just it's a punch him in the face movie. I don't know what are you talking about.
It explains everything.
Now, Thunderbolts is not an awful movie.
Correct.
It's fine. It's a base hit.
But I don't accept that it's a 5-star movie just because Marvel finally decided maybe we need to actually take our characters seriously for once.
Bingo. So, there you go. Pre-pandemic, 19 Marvel movies out of 22 made at least $500 million at the global box office. Basically, Marvel was averaging $1 billion a film in some way or another, with their super high highs and their base hits for 19 out of 22 movies. Starting in 2020, since then, 6 out of 13 have reached that $500 million benchmark. And this out of the 6, one of those is Deadpool and Wolverine, which came out last year. I'm sure another one is Far From Home, which... No Way Home.
No Way Home was over $1 billion.
No Way Home. I'm trying to remember the other 4 right off the top of my head. That would have been...
Started with Homecoming. Oh, no, wait. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant the other Spider-Man movies.
This is since 2020. Which 6 Marvel movies would have made at least $500 million? Shang-Chi be one of those? I don't think so. Shang-Chi?
Did that come out after 2021?
So this is starting in 2020. So I think
starting in 2020. Yeah, that was a pandemic movie.
Anyway, we won't do this whole thing. This is this is the bad way to go. The point is, it's not trending well. They got to figure out how to fix it. Ever since they launched these television shows on Marvel, on Disney Plus, things have been not as consistent in terms of the financial results. So will they be able to pull it all together? Will Fantastic Four end up crushing it? We shall see. Let's talk a little bit about Disney and NBC Universal, as normally they're competitors. Disney and Universal don't love each other. They're teaming up, actually. They are the first major Hollywood studios to file a lawsuit against a generative AI company.
Oh, yeah, against Midjourney. I saw the headline for this.
They are suing Midjourney for stealing their copyrighted characters from Deadpool to Minions. We're bringing this action today to protect the hard work of all the artists whose work entertains and inspires us, and the significant investment we make in our content. Theft is theft, regardless of the technology used, and this action involves blatant infringement of our copyrights. Now, we've talked about this. I don't remember if it was on air or off air, but we talked about eventually what's going to happen is these studios, the real cash cow that they're going to have is their IP. I mean, sort of already is, but they have to produce their own. The question will be with AI coming in and everyone being allowed to be a creator, how will they license it and how will they protect their IP? And they're taking a big swing here at going after AI very early on to make sure that their IP stays within their full creative control. Do you think they'll be successful, Tyler?
I would be interested to see how far this actually goes, because I believe one of the provisions of the recent bill that was passed, the big beautiful bill. I forget the official name, or is that the official?
That's what everyone's calling it.
Whatever.
That's what everyone's.
Anyway, one of the provisions of that bill is that there's no state regulation on AI for the next 10 years. I don't like that at all.
That's kind of scary.
That is very scary. I might be paranoid, but I'm the type that thinks that if you let it just go unchecked for 10 years, we're not going to be here in 10 years.
If there's no safeguards whatsoever and we can't fight back.
You're not allowed to bring up an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's too much money on the line for them to have government interference if they really want to get through everything they want to get through with these companies and the way that they want to make AI expand rapidly over the next, and we say 10 years, I mean, 3 years?
Yeah, it'll be shorter.
Everyone likes to use even, those like benchmarks, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 3 years, 2 years. I mean, like, we're on the cusp of our lives changing forever. And once that gets out, I don't think there's any reeling it back in, especially if that provision is something that goes through.
Man, I had a story in Trash the other day about a hotel in China, that has housekeeping robots. Not Roomba. I'm talking about like Windexing the showers and cleaning windows, watering the plants, folding towels, everything that you would pay a regular housekeeping staff member to do.
Yeah. I'm concerned. What happens when you wake up to a robot that doesn't expect you to be in the room and they beat you to death thinking you're an intruder? I don't know. It kind of worries me. Because I can see that happening to me for some reason.
That's worrisome.
Or them just Windexing you constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Which could be also awful.
Or what if you walk into your house and your robot bodyguard recognizes you as a threat because it sees you as a bear.
It's possible.
Like, there's a bear in the house. Kill it.
It's possible. And then while it's killing me, I'm like, just cook me a well-done steak. And they'll be like, no other human wants that order. I will go do that. And they stop beating me to death, hopefully. Let's get into this. A little bit of a lighter note. Not really, though. James Gunn told Marvel. James Gunn's talking a lot. He's out there on the Superman press tour. He's getting a lot of questions. He's obviously the creative force behind what DC Comics is doing now with their film division. He's not the money force, but he is the creative force. James Gunn told Marvel, supposedly, he wasn't going to put Thor in Guardians of the Galaxy, despite their tease team up at the end of Avengers Endgame. James Gunn said, quote, I said in the script notes, I'm not going to put him in. I don't want to have Thor in the Guardians. I don't want to do a movie with Thor. I don't understand the character that much. So, if you notice, what I took from this was, in a project where the Guardians were not under James Gunn's direction in Thor Love and Thunder, they ended up having Thor share the screen with the Guardians in that movie at the beginning. Now, it's a relatively short scene, small scene. They kind of go their separate ways for the rest of the movie. But I think that was a way for Marvel to be like, we're going to make this happen either way, James. Either you're going to be able to do exactly what we want.
You're either playing ball or we'll make it happen without you.
If you're not going to take Thor and put him into your movie, we'll take your movie and put it into a Thor movie. Well, how did that work out? Thor Love and Thunder sucked. And
I believe Thor 5 is supposed to be filming soon, but reportedly Taika Waititi will not be returning as director.
Not shocked by that at all.
Yeah.
He pulled, people don't fully realize this, but he definitely pulled a Joker Folia do in being a director that basically was tired of working on this, but wanted the paycheck, couldn't turn it down, and just made absolute slop, lazy slop. And that's what you ended up getting here with this situation. So I hated that movie. I love Thor Ragnarok. It's probably my favorite.
Ragnarok is great.
It's my favorite non-Avengers MCU movie is Thor Ragnarok. I think it's incredibly funny and really, really good. And Jeff Goldblum cracks me up in it.
Oh, yeah. And normally I knock Marvel movies for trying to have so much comedy, but Thor Ragnarok was genuinely funny.
Genuinely funny.
Jeff Goldblum's character, like you said, I like, is it Korg?
Korg,
the
yeah.
Rock guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that guy a lot. He's
super
so funny.
Super funny. It's Thor Ragnarok is great. And I was kind of excited for Thor Love and Thunder because same team, principal team, and it was just a complete lazy, like, let's just do the most generically stupid stuff in this movie, and it was night and day. But James Gunn doesn't have to worry about including Thor in any of his pictures now because he's running DC, and he says the Batman 2 is still a go. It's not being dropped, despite reports that it was considered to be scrapped. He says it's not going to be scrapped, saying, quote, what Matt Reeves is doing is still really important despite all stories to the contrary. We're supposed to see that script shortly. I can't wait. Now, I'm not sure James Gunn is someone you can take literally all the time. I think that a lot of times he likes to sort of play politics in the world of media or on his Twitter account, and he likes to send messages to people in a very public way. So he may be saying, like, hey, Matt Reeves, I'm going to continue to promote that you're about to turn in that script, but obviously I don't have a script on my desk, and you need to hurry it up, you notoriously slow writer. Now, there's all kinds of rumors of why Matt Reeves maybe isn't able to as proficiently deliver a script. We won't get into all that innuendo and all that stuff, but they keep talking about it, and he says it's on. Do you believe James Gunn wholeheartedly when he says, look, I'm as excited about it as anybody else. I'm just waiting patiently for the next step of the process?
It makes me worried that James Gunn's going to get a little too anxious, a little too antsy, and just say, you know what? Andy Muschietti turned in a garbage Flash movie. Why don't I just take the story that people like from the Matt Reeves stuff and fold it into my DCU?
Very possible.
I am growing more and more worried that is happening.
Very, very possible. I'm not ruling that out at all. I think what he can't do is come out and say, we're scrapping this thing and not be looked at as the bad guy, especially right before Superman.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to be the story after
He's
Superman?
trying to appease everyone and say, yes, it's on the way. It's on the way. Please shut up. Please stop talking about it. Let me put out Superman.
Yeah, let me get Superman out there. And if Superman's just an absolute smash hit on all accounts, all of a sudden people are like, James Gunn, whatever you want to do with the Robert Pattinson Batman, we trust, because Superman was fantastic. So he's got to earn that goodwill first by getting Superman right. But right now he's saying, Matt Reeves, so important. So they probably have already worked out a deal for him to exit in some way. I wouldn't be shocked. Would you be shocked if, like, August 1st, we hear the news that Matt Reeves has officially left the Batman project?
I wouldn't be shocked. We've seen the reports before and then debunked those reports and then saw new rumors. So it wouldn't be shocking. It's something we've been talking about every time we bring up the possibility of Batman Part 2. But it would be very, very disappointing because I absolutely love the world that Matt Reeves is building out.
Yeah. Let's go to this. Warner Brothers. You're going to love this news, I think. I'm sure you've already seen it. Nosferatu director Robert Eggers developing a Christmas Carol remake at Warner Brothers. No talent is currently attached, but Willem Dafoe is being eyed for Scrooge, as Eggers has worked with Dafoe and has fondness for the actor. It's one of those actor, like if we were to do a Meltdown countdown of actor-director combos that are like the most important right now, working today.
That one's growing with every single entry.
That one's growing. It's almost, like I think of it as a Christopher Nolan, Michael Caine sort of relationship because Willem Dafoe is getting a little older, but Willem Dafoe is playing meaty characters. So
he's
not
playing
completely
leading roles in roles that are very psychologically demanding, I would say. Did you ever see The Lighthouse?
I have not.
Oh, man. It's a weird movie to recommend, but that's a ride.
Yeah, that's how I feel with Beau's Afraid when I talk to you about it. I'm like, don't judge me when you watch it, but it's crazy.
Well, that's how I feel about The Lighthouse. It's like psychological thriller, part horror, part period piece. It's a weird part like play almost because it's like a character drama between two people, and they're the only characters in the movie you see.
Seems like there's a lot of surrealism in it.
Definitely.
And I have to be in sort of a wanting to go down a trippy road state to really enjoy it. And I'm out of respect of the team and the film, and I'm trying to wait until I'm in that right mindset. But
that's fair.
I don't know if I'll ever be there. But you like this move, Christmas Carol?
Oh, yeah. It'll work. 100%.
There's 3 movies now that Robert Eggers is working on in pre-production. The Labyrinth sequel, which the minute it gets announced or we get any footage, I'm just going to be through the roof. I love Labyrinth. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And man, I'm going to lose my mind when I start to see stuff there from that. So there's that. There's the Werewolves movie he's doing.
Which I believe is supposed to be the first one that comes out.
The Werewolves one is the first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called a werewolf, but spelled like WERWULF.
Sounds right.
And it's of like 13th century German werewolves. Yeah.
Is it Germany?
I believe so.
Oh, okay. I thought it was England for some reason.
Let me double check.
I'm not, I don't know. I just, you got the century right for sure.
It's definitely 13th century and it is Old English.
Okay. I'm excited for that as a werewolf fan for sure. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then the third thing now is this Christmas Carol remake, which I still feel like the best interpretation of the Christmas Carol is Muppet Christmas Carol with Michael Caine. All goes around there. Michael Caine. Let's talk about from Michael Caine to Salento, the rapper known for Watch Me Whip, Watch Me Nay Nay, which Tyler just acted out and I didn't even have to twist his arm to do it. He's been sentenced to 30 years in prison after pleading guilty to charges related to the fatal shooting of his cousin. I don't know where Salento's based out of. Do you know? I want to say Atlanta. I want to say so too, but I don't want to just because you went over to Atlanta, we think everybody's from Atlanta now. But I feel like that's correct.
like that is.
But this was a very popular skating rink.
Yeah, DeKalb County.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very popular skating rink song for groups and parties, and I heard this song played so many times. I played this song so many times. So, Salento there. Who was it recently? Sean Kingston, right? I played a lot of Sean Kingston back in the day too. And he ended up getting sentenced to prison for wire fraud.
Yeah.
And all this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just like, all these like pop-up hip hop rappers that I played at the skating rink are all going to prison. So anyway, there you go. From Salento to Bryce Dallas Howard. I can't think of three more different people. Michael Caine, Salento, Bryce Dallas Howard. Bryce Dallas Howard's doing interviews talking about she knew Argyle was going to flop. Well, that's probably not the best thing to say after it fell. That was like our first meltdown at the movies. It was an unofficial one, but like we were so happy about this is going to be the first movie we take EG to, and ever since then she has not trusted us.
Our experience with that movie was so bad.
Argyle sucked.
That EG didn't go back to the movies with us until we went to see Wicked, which she also hated.
Creative excess is not always a good thing, right? Like anytime people are like, directors should be allowed to do whatever they want. They shouldn't have any checks and balances from the money people. I'm like, have you seen Argyle? Like, it's excessively flashy, and we're going to, like, really go over the top visually, and it's tiresome. The movie's tiresome. And Bryce Dallas Howard felt the same thing. She was the lead actress there in Argyle, but she said that movies like Argyle and Lady in the Water, which is one of the worst movies I've ever seen, went to Lady in the Water on a date, and that was rough to explain why we were in there. Bryce Dallas Howard said, "You can always see it coming while you're making it. I've never been shocked when something doesn't work, but I'm just an actor. You're there to serve a director's vision. If a movie doesn't turn out the way you envision, you can barely feel disappointed because it's not yours. You're not the person who's building the thing." This sounds like basically what was said by Dakota Johnson when it comes to Madam Web. You know, it's like, I didn't have anything. I got a paycheck and I showed up and I did my job, and that was it.
That was Dakota Johnson's attitude during the promotion of Madam Web.
That is also
in the run up to its release. It was just like, I honestly thought I was in an MCU movie. Yeah. Oh, I've never worked with this much blue screen. I don't know if it'll even look good. I don't know why anyone would see this movie. Those were the things she was saying in the run up to the release.
She was trying to warn everybody, I think. Like,
she was.
Don't watch this.
You know, props to her.
Yeah.
She never like did anything to promote Daddy-O, which I think is a much better movie.
Daddy-O was.
You would agree.
Daddy-O was sneaky good.
Yeah.
Almost like a play. I mean, it's like just great back and forth dialogue, and yeah, that movie. That movie needed to be hosed down. It was, a little bit too. It cranked it up a little bit too much sometimes in that taxi cab. But anyway, that's enough about that. Let's go to this, Spaceballs. The sequel, led by Josh Gad, who you can tell like really loves Spaceballs, like is a super fan. It's set for a 2027 theatrical release. Mel Brooks, who wrote and directed the original 1987 movie, is returning at 98 years old to play the Yoda-like character Yogurt. Bill Pullman, who you may not only know from Spaceballs, but also from one of my favorite movies ever in Independence Day, is returning, and Rick Moranis is set to reprise his role of Dark Helmet in the new Spaceball movie from Amazon MGM Studios. There have been so many moments where I've asked, is Rick Moranis going to be coming back to this property? Are we ever going to see Rick Moranis on screen again? Oh, Rick Moranis has come out of hiding and he's, walking the city streets of New York and he just got punched? No. Whoever punched Rick Moranis needs to be taken to prison and thrown in a chamber, because that's awful. But Rick Moranis is a treasure. He's a part of a wave of great comedic actors where it's almost like John Candy in a way. Like, I have such an affinity for John Candy. There's a documentary coming out on him soon, produced by Ryan Reynolds. But like, we needed more John Candy before he left us. And Rick Moranis voluntarily left us because he committed his life to his children. And I like that very much. But he's coming back, and this makes me excited. This is the thing that makes me the most excited, is that we're getting more Rick Moranis. And I've always wanted more Rick Moranis in my life, and now we're going to have it. What's your thought about the Spaceballs sequel and the way they announced it?
Fantastic. Love the teaser trailer. For anyone who hasn't seen it, it's just they do the Star Wars gimmick of the floating opening credits, and it's just talking about how many prequels and sequels and reboots there have been since Spaceballs was made, and it's very funny, and it's also kind of mind-blowing in a way, because you have this realization. It's like, oh yeah, there have been that many of this movie. Oh yeah, that did happen. Oh, and it's very funny. My one criticism is that it just reminds me that we're not getting Young Frankenstein 2, because Gene Wilder has unfortunately left us.
That is correct. I think that the marketing for this movie is already earning a lot of goodwill.
Definitely needs to.
I asked Tyler, do you think they'll release this promotional material in the theater? Tyler quickly said no. I want to say that he's right. I think you're right. I think this is strictly a digital ad campaign. Yeah. However, if I'm seated for Naked Gun and I see this play on the big screen.
Now that's one I could see it playing in front of.
Is it not the perfect target audience for what you're looking for?
Absolutely. Yes. The audience, the Venn diagram of Spaceballs fans and Naked Gun fans, it's just one circle.
Yeah. I feel like we'll know then whether or not they're going to air this in theaters. But it's really good. If you haven't watched it, it's on YouTube. Check it out. It's really rewarding there. But, it's amazing to me that Spaceballs may use the opening crawl, and Star Wars doesn't even use the opening crawl anymore because they only use those for main episode things. And last time I checked, there's no episode 10 coming out anytime soon. So anyway, there we go. David Harbour, an actor that I think both of us appreciate, who was in Thunderbolts that we talked about here a few minutes ago. He says he's relieved that Stranger Things is over, saying, quote,
him and everybody else.
When I started, I loved it so much, and then you get to a point where you're like, how much more story is there? You're having to play a lot of the same beat. After 10 years, it's like, okay.
That is the most accurate description of what watching Stranger Things since the beginning has been like.
I'm not a Stranger Things fan, okay? And I know there are people who are just cult obsessive over Stranger Things. I never got into it. It seems like a show I would like, but I just it was never really my jam, and everyone was losing their mind over it. And people are very excited to get to the finish line here. No one more excited than the cast themselves, which they've all sort of aged out of their roles. And David Harbour is very much like, I'm tired and I want to go home, and that's what I'm hearing here. So he's ready to move on. Everybody else seems like they're ready to sort of put the sort of the final thoughts on this, but it won't be long before there's a spinoff or there's some sort of
there's an animated series.
Oh, is that already going to happen?
It's called Stranger Things Tales from 85, I believe.
Yeah. They're not just going to let this thing wash up.
Either pre-production or production, and good for them for making it animated so they avoid the whole problem of regular old Stranger Things, which is characters aging and looking much different than when they started, and production timelines and all that.
Yeah, Hunter's in the chat saying I'm excited about it, but I'm ready for it to be over. Nick says same, Hunter. There's a certain level of fatigue of.
Yeah, I mean, this was a show that I started watching when the first season came out, and I would watch every season when it came out. And it's great. It has that nice 80s Goonies type feel, good sci-fi. But I'm just ready for it to be over. I'm tired of the build-up. I'm tired of the hour and a half to now 2.5 hour long episodes, and all for it to just end in the same way every season. It needs to have some stakes this season. It needs to have some finality, some consequences. Like when we did Tyler's Tidbits last week, and Chad Stahelski talked about making John Wick 4 and trying to write that ending and saying, we need this one to have a lot of fate and consequences. That's what I need from Stranger Things 5, or else it was just kind of just one big fart.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Can't keep dangling the carrot of consequence. That's what we're going to call it, the carrot of consequence.
I like that.
Got to have it happening. On a final note here, I feel like this is very culturally important to talk about. I don't know, Tyler, if you have any sort of affinity for the Beach Boys, but their co-founder, Brian Wilson, died this week at the age of 82. There's been a lot of tributes that have come out. There's no denying the influence that the Beach Boys had on popular music here in this country. A lot of people consider the Beach Boys to be the greatest American band of all time. That's a fair argument. I know Spud is a giant Beach Boys fan. He basically talks about how the Beatles and Beach Boys, he goes back and forth on them every week on his playlist. He loves 60s music. So the Beach Boys are highly important to him. Paul McCartney actually shared a series of photos of Wilson, one of which was taken by McCartney's late wife, Linda McCartney, writing, quote, Brian had that mysterious sense of musical genius that made his songs so achingly special. The notes he heard in his head and passed to us were simple and brilliant at the same time. I loved him and was privileged to be around his bright, shining light for a little while. How we will continue without Brian Wilson, God only knows. Thank you, Brian. Paul. I thought that was a really touching tribute, really nice. And you have a lot of music legends that are posting about this. Bob Dylan was one that posted about Wilson, saying, quote, heard the sad news about Brian today and thought about all the years I've been listening to him and admiring his genius. Rest in peace, dear Brian. Elton John posted a photo of him and Wilson, writing, Brian Wilson was always so kind to me from the day I met him. He sang Somebody Saved My Life Tonight at a tribute concert in 2003, and it was an extraordinary moment for me. I played on his solo records. He sang on my album, The Union, and even performed for my AIDS Foundation. I grew to love him as a person, and for me, he was the biggest influence on my songwriting ever. He was a musical genius and revolutionary. He changed the goalposts when it came to writing songs and shaped music forever. A true giant. I mean, it doesn't take... maybe there's a certain generation of music fans who don't really realize his impact until they start to hear some of these names that are like, this guy was the GOAT. This guy was the best. This guy was one of the greatest songwriters to ever live. Quick thoughts here. And, have the Beach Boys ever done anything for you emotionally? I mean, you're wearing a Wu-Tang hoodie, so I don't think there's a lot of crossover there. I don't think that Venn diagram exists.
No. Those are two very separate circles. I know a few songs from the Beach Boys. I've never been a big fan of them. I know them mainly from Full House, oddly enough.
That's actually quite fair. That's not even a dig or anything, because that's how they were introduced to an entire another generation.
There were several Beach Boys themed Full House episodes where
100%.
they would appear.
John Stamos is a giant Beach Boys fan. He's performed with them countless times, and it seems like every 4th of July that he would host that Capitol 4th, he'd be bringing the Beach Boys out, or he'd be doing Beach Boys songs, or so that kept them relevant for much longer than they even should have been from a reaching new audiences, new eyeballs, new ears sort of way.
I mean, that is quite literally the only way that me, born in 99 and wearing a Wu-Tang Clan hoodie, would know about the song Kokomo.
There you go. And that and Muppet Treasure Island. Let's not forget that.
Oh, yeah. You got a good point. Forgot about Muppet Treasure Island.
No, you can't do that. Tim Curry slays in that movie.
Talk.
Yeah, you're good. The Beach Boys also paid tribute in a post. We'll end with this, saying, quote, the world mourns a genius today, and we grieve for the loss of our cousin, our friend, and our partner in a great musical adventure. Brian Wilson wasn't just the heart of the Beach Boys. He was the soul of our sound. The melodies he dreamed up and the emotions he poured into every note changed the course of music forever. His unparalleled talent and unique spirit created the soundtrack of so many lives around the globe, including our own. Together, we gave the world the American dream of optimism, joy, and a sense of freedom. Music that made people feel good, made them believe in summer and endless possibilities. We are heartbroken by his passing. Very touching tribute there, and music fans around the world are mourning the loss here of Brian Wilson. That's going to do it for us here on The Meltdown. We thank you so much for making us, once again, just a small piece of your collective energy. And for you being here, we cannot ever show the amount of gratitude that we would like to for saying that we appreciate you joining us around the pop culture campfire that we call Meltdown Live, with you daily, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern. Don't forget about our title sponsor. That's MyBookie at MyBookie.ag. You can bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. They're at MyBookie.ag. Use promo code NEXTROUND for that first-time deposit bonus there at MyBookie.ag. Special Fun Friday show tomorrow. We'll have Jeff Roberts here in studio with us. We're looking very forward to that. We'll have a lot of frivolity and fun on our next edition of Meltdown Live. We will see you again very soon.